Hey, Mark Clark here from Village Church in Vancouver, Canada. We're going through the Gospel of Matthew, and Matthew chapter 6 has so much in it. It's the middle of the Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus says a word for us that I think in our culture is really big and really welcome. He says, "Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, about what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than clothing, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they?" I remember a friend of mine who wasn't a Christian at all was going to get surgery one day. And he, I've been telling him about Jesus. And he was so nervous the night before the surgery. He called me up and he said, "Can you please tell me a Bible verse that will give me comfort?" And he'd never asked me anything about the Bible before. He lived a life that completely was the opposite to everything the Bible said. But in this moment of fear, he was like, "Does the Bible have anything to say to me?" And so I told him about this verse. And we read it together out loud. And the story goes on and says, does God clothes the grass and so on. So don't worry about your life because you can't add one more day to it. And he said nothing had given him more peace going into that surgery than this story. The reality is we live in a culture of anxiety. People are scared about everything. They're scared about their money. They're scared they're going to be victims of different things in life. Anxiety is on the rise in every way. Social media and so on creates this anxiety in us where we think our life is at the end and we're scared for our kids and we're scared for our spouses and we're scared for everything. And Jesus gives us this beautiful story and he says, God's in control. Every bird that falls to the ground, the Father oversaw it. You can't add 1 hour to your life by being worried because God's in control. If you believe that God is sovereign, that as my wife used to, as a kid, she had a lot of anxiety, and her dad used to put her to bed and sing a song to her every night. And it said this: "Nothing will happen to you today. Nothing good, nothing bad. Nothing will happen to you today that doesn't go through the Father's hands." If you believe that, then your anxiety is going to go away because ultimately you're not in control. The Father's in control and the Father is good. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to suffer. It doesn't mean you're not going to go through things. It means that, as one writer has said, the story about Peter falling into the water when he's looking at Jesus and he starts to lack faith tells us something very important. It's not that we're never going to drown. It's that we're safe in drowning. And that's the point of, as we face even our death. Christianity doesn't say you're not going to die. It says if you believe in Jesus, you're safe in dying. And that's the hope it gives us.